You think you would run. You believe that upon seeing the mountain explode, your survival instinct would be enough to escape the fury of nature. You are mortally mistaken. Your modern arrogance makes you think that speed would save you. Reality is much more cruel. Your nightmare begins in the false security of a vibrant and sunny morning. You wake up feeling the gentle breeze of the Mediterranean Sea on your face. You walk through streets paved with volcanic stone, hearing the sound of wagons and the lively buzz of local merchants. The smell of fresh bread floats in the warm air. Life seems perfectly normal. Everything is in its proper place, but the earth beneath your leather sandals holds an ancient secret. You feel a subtle tremor rise through the soles of your feet. It is just a quick jolt. You ignore the warning. Everyone around you ignores it. The water in your clay amphora vibrates slightly, drawing concentric rings of pure tension. The birds, once noisy, suddenly go silent. A deathly silence embraces the city. The air becomes heavy. The atmospheric pressure crushes your ears. Suddenly, a deafening roar tears the fabric of reality. The sound does not come from the heavens. The sound is born from the bowels of hell. You turn your neck toward Mount Vesuvius. The verdant mountain, which you have admired your whole life, has just been decapitated. A colossal pillar of fire, black smoke and molten rock is shot directly into the stratosphere. The blue sky is instantly swallowed by a thick and sickly darkness. Panic paralyzes your muscles. You do not run immediately. Your primitive brain tries to process the impossible. People scream, point, cry. The sun disappears completely at noon. Night falls brutally upon your shoulders. The first pumice stones begin to rain. They fall like dry, rough hail, hitting the roofs and flaying your unprotected skin. Instinct finally awakens. You run desperately seeking shelter. You push strangers, seeking the shadows of a solid structure. You enter a nearby house. You lock the heavy wooden door. You breathe heavily in the gloom. You hide under a sturdy roof, believing you have found salvation. But you do not realize you have just dug your own grave. The ground you walk on carries the weight of an ancient trap. You chose to live in this fertile paradise, completely ignoring the dangers sleeping beneath your foundations. The geography of Campania, which once blessed your harvests with juicy grapes and perfect olives, now reveals itself as a cage of monumental proportions. You look through the cracks of the blocked window and understand the gravity of your location. The Bay of Naples cuts the horizon before you. The rough sea, now agitated by invisible tsunamis, prevents any escape route by water. The ships are grounded or destroyed. The wind is your greatest enemy. The coastal breeze, which you loved so much, is blowing directly inland. The airflow pushes Vesuvius's immense toxic cloud exactly over your head. You are at the epicenter of the geographical disaster. The mountain is not just a distant neighbor. The mountain is the master of your destiny. The rain of pumice stones does not stop for a single second. The noise outside is deafening. It feels like the gods are hammering the roof of your prison. The volcanic material accumulates in the streets at a frightening pace. Inch by inch, the doors and windows are sealed from the outside. Your luxurious house, built with stones taken from past eruptions, quickly transforms into a suffocating chamber. The thin air begins to burn your nostrils. The smell of sulfur invades your lungs. You cough violently. Icy fear freezes your stomach. You can't see anything in the darkness. The ceiling above you groans under the weight of tons of porous rock. The wood cracks, warning that physics is about to collect its price. You feel the fine dust falling on your trembling shoulders. The once unshakable structure yields millimeters every minute. Panic turns into a silent despair. As the weight of the stones begins to crack the ceiling above your head, you hear the muffled crying of a boy in the dark corner, whose suffering reveals the true horror of this stone prison. Your watery eyes try to pierce the suffocating darkness to find the source of the sound. You grope the dusty floor and find Caio, a boy only 7 years old. He is huddled against the peeling wall. His small hands convulsively squeeze a carved wooden dog. The toy is his last anchor to sanity. The boy's face is covered by a grey mask of volcanic ash. You see tears cutting clean furrows through his dirty cheeks. He tries to call for his mother, but his throat is clogged with pulverized volcanic glass. Each breath is a lost battle. You try to comfort him. You reach out a trembling hand to touch his shoulder. The boy coughs up a dark liquid. Blood stains his tunic. You feel your own breath fail. Everyday life in Pompeii was completely annihilated in a matter of hours. Yesterday, you were buying fresh fish in the market lit by the golden sun. Today, you swallow acidic dust in the darkness of an improvised tomb. The laughter in the public baths has been replaced by groans of prolonged agony. Your entire world has been reduced to this cramped, smelly, and hot room. Fine dust penetrates every crack. The dust gets into your eyes. The dust coats your tongue with the metallic taste of death. You hug the boy, trying to protect him from the inevitable. The child's body trembles violently against your exhausted chest. Suffocation is slow, cruel, and methodical. Sulfur dioxide replaces oxygen. Your brain begins to fail. Slight hallucinations dance at the edges of your vision. You hear voices that do not exist. Caio's breathing becomes shallow. One last weak sigh. His body relaxes in your arms. The child is dead. The weight of the small life lost crushes your soul. You cry without making a sound. Absolute loneliness swallows you whole. The silence of the dead child beside you is broken by a colossal roar outside, announcing that Vesuvius's true fury had not even begun yet. The illusion of power and control melts like wax under the mountain's wrath. You always believed your status would protect you from any harm. You were wrong. In the darkness of this collapsing prison, wealth has no value at all. You look around, lit only by the rare volcanic lightning that tears through the invisible sky. You see proud patricians crying, just like the slaves they used to whip. A wealthy magistrate, who only yesterday financed bloody gladiatorial matches, now crawls across the filthy floor. He offers bags of gold coins to the deaf gods. The coins fall from his trembling hands, rolling uselessly through the dust. The tension inside the shelter reaches an animalistic level. Oxygen is the new gold. Clean air is the only luxury that matters. You feel the most primitive instinct take control of your body. Someone finds a small crack in the wall that still allows a faint breeze to enter. A savage struggle breaks out in the dark. You push, scratch, and bite. You step on an elderly merchant's hands to secure your spot near the air. Roman civilization crumbles inside this cramped room. The laws of the empire evaporate along with your humanity. You are no longer a respectable citizen of Pompeii. You are a cornered beast fighting for the next second of existence. Morality is a burden too heavy to carry at the end of the world. You push the weak aside without feeling any remorse. Your heart beats erratically, pumping thick blood through your dilated veins. The air around you suddenly becomes heavy. An invisible pressure crushes your eardrums. The scarce oxygen disappears once and for all. The stone walls around you begin to radiate a sickly heat. You feel the sweat boil on your forehead as the temperature inexplicably skyrockets, ignoring that the darkness outside has just given birth to an unstoppable avalanche of fire. Night falls deep, but the end arrives illuminated by the fury of 1,000 suns. The mountain is no longer just spitting rocks. The flank of Vesuvius has collapsed. A superheated cloud of lethal gas, ash, and molten rock descends the mountainside at 300 kilometers per hour. The pyroclastic flow is the very definition of absolute apocalypse. You have no time to pray. The sound that hits your ears resembles the deafening roar of an infinite fleet of war chariots. The heavy wooden door of your prison explodes into 1,000 flaming shards. The shockwave throws your broken body against the stone wall. The air entering the room is over 500 degrees Celsius. The coup de grace is swift but incredibly violent. You breathe in the fire. The incandescent gas invades your trachea, carbonizing your lungs in a fraction of a second. The pain is so absolute that your nervous system short-circuits. You cannot scream. Your vocal cords are instantly vaporized. The moisture in your eyes boils, turning your tears into steam before they can fall. Calcination is immediate. Your skin blisters and melts over your bones. Your brain fluids boil in a millisecond. The human skull cannot withstand the pressure of the internal steam. Your muscles contract violently, forcing your arms and legs into the rigid and terrifying pugilist pose, as if you were trying to fight an invisible enemy. Your flesh is cooked in its own juices. Your blood clots and turns to dust in your veins. Your entire body turns into a statue of pure agony. Death is not a smooth passage, but a brutal physical and chemical annihilation. Your body is now just an empty mold of eternalized pain, waiting patiently in the absolute dark to tell a horror story that the world will take millennia to discover. Time stops. The silence that follows the carnage is dense, heavy, and absolute. Dust slowly settles over your twisted form. You are no longer a person who walks, breathes, or dreams. You are now a macabre monument shaped by hardened ash. Centuries pass silently over the buried ruins of your city. Entire empires rise, conquer the world, and crumble under the sunlight, while you remain frozen in the same defensive position in the damp dark. Nature reclaims the surface. The world forgets your name, your life, your flaws, and your loves. You become a mere whisper beneath the fertile and verdant soil of modern Italy, until the curious shovels of archaeologists break the sacred seal of your forgotten tomb. Daylight touches your remains almost 2 millennia after your last breath. Liquid plaster is carefully poured into the empty cavity left by your decomposed flesh. Your moment of absolute terror is obscenely immortalized for empty modern entertainment. Tourists from all over the globe will take photographs of your cadaverous contortionism, pointing at your tragedy through cold glass displays. Your unspeakable agony becomes a mere museum attraction for eyes that do not understand true pain. Pompeii's legacy is not just a distant lesson in ancient and untouchable history. It is a dark mirror of our own arrogant fragility as a human species. We continue to build our giant metropolises of glass and steel over uncontrollable geological faults. We keep laughing at the unpredictable fury of nature, foolishly believing that our advanced technology will protect us from the inevitable. We are exactly like you, ignoring the constant tremors and just waiting for our own suffocating cloud of ash. Your terrible death is our greatest warning, repeatedly ignored. Subscribe to the shadows of our channel to unearth more nightmares forgotten by history. Leave your comment before the ashes of time bury your voice forever.